Good evening, everyone. Welcome to PAD's annual Sleep Out event. My name is Clarice Pettingill, and I'm the Director of Development for PAD's Lake County. Joining us tonight are Eric Foote, our Interim Executive Director, and Kevin Woodside, our Board President. We are so thrilled that you are able to join us on this extraordinary evening. We are also grateful to all of you who took the time out of your weekend to give up the comforts of your beds to join us and sleep out with us. I know that some of you are sleeping out in your backyards, in your driveways, in parking lots, and in your hallways, in your porches, in your cars, and even churches' basements. All of these are awesome. What a great way to show our collective love and the powerful impact of human empathy. Thank you, everyone. All our individual and team fundraisers, you rock. You are awesome. Our donors, we could not have done this without you. Thank you so very much for being with us tonight. And now I'd like to call on Eric to give us his welcome remarks.
Hi. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. If you're in a car or a parking lot or in a tent somewhere, you're fulfilling the spirit of what this event is about, which is to live a little bit of the life of the people that we serve here at PADS, to, I guess, live in solidarity with them in a bit. And so that's why we're actually in this room here, which is our, call it a staging area. It's where clients wait during the winter months for shelter each evening. Used to be up to 80 people in this room at any given time pre-COVID. Now we still can get up to 50, 60 people here. So anyway, from all of us to you, thank you very much for joining us. So it should be a 20 or 30-minute program, and then we'll get to the fun raffle at the end. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Eric. Tonight, friends, as you extend yourselves in kindness and in grace for others, you also make hope and opportunities possible for our neighbors who are grappling with homelessness in Lake County. Your activism, your advocacy, your investment are helping PADS and allow us to care, to serve, and to heal all those who come to our door. Speaking of generosity, we'd like to take this time to especially thank our incredible partners who made this event possible. I'd like to thank BMO, First Bank of Highland Park, Cost Per Copy Consultants, Sound of Music, Zerillion, Quattro, Berry Global, Advocate Healthcare, Waukegan Community Bank, the Libertyville Bank and Trust, State Bank of the Lakes, Six Flags Great America, United Protestant Church of Grace Lake, Ace Hardware in Round Lake. Thank you all for supporting us and making this event possible. Now I'd like to call on Eric to walk us briefly through our mission and the impact we do in the community through the work and the services that we provide. Eric?
Thanks, Chris. I've got a slide deck that we're going to go through. If you're on this Zoom with us, I'm sure some of this is going to be information you already know, but there are details in here that are new, and I am pleased to share them because they represent all of the work that our staff of 35 here have accomplished. PADS, as you may or may not know, is an acronym used by several agencies in the Illinois area, but a Chicagoland area. Providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter is how we have decided to use it as an acronym. Our mission is to say that PADS is a community-based organization that provides trauma-informed support, resources, and shelter to individuals and families experiencing a housing crisis. Together we can help people achieve the best lives imaginable. And that all is true. Housing crisis comes when people are about to lose their housing or have lost their housing. And PADS is generally known as the front door to the homeless services system, because in general, when people have that problem in Lake County, people point them to PADS as their first stop. The next slide illustrates the importance of what we do. It's from a gentleman named Matthew Desmond. He wrote a book called Evicted. I believe went to Princeton, or is a Princeton professor. And he says, without stable shelter, everything else falls apart. And I think you can imagine people at some of their lowest points are the ones when they're standing outside and they're just not sure where they're going to go next. And that often is PADS. Who do we serve? Anyone experiencing homelessness or a housing crisis. Again, homelessness and a housing crisis doesn't necessarily mean that they are homeless today. It means that they may be homeless. Provide emergency shelter and case management to men, women, and children that are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We use trauma-informed care. That means that we understand, and it's embedded in our methods of treatment, that people have trauma that impacts their behavior and has probably led to the situation they're finding themselves in. We know that homelessness is traumatic, and many have experienced trauma in the past. What we do to address clients in a housing crisis. Top left is supportive services. Those are the case management services that we provide that help people navigate to not just PADS resources, but all the other ones that may be available to them to get them back to something more permanent rather than what are temporary options here. Prevention and diversion is for the people that come to us and say, I'm about to lose my place. I've been couch surfing and they're about to kick me out, or whatever it is. People know, many in the community, that if homelessness is going to be in their future, they need to get to PADS so that they can start the process of making sure they don't have to spend a night on the street. And sometimes we're able to keep them from shelter, and that's with our prevention and diversion program. They negotiate with landlords, they provide resources to individuals, they can provide groceries, they can maybe link them up with some other provider in the community that can forestall that fall into homelessness. Outreach, bottom left, those are case managers that we have that go out into the community for someone that may be panhandling, or if we get a call about an encampment in the woods, or a police station calls us someone sleeping in a train station, or a community member calls someone's who knows where. Our job is to go out and to find those individuals. We have a trunk full of supplies. We provide tents, sleeping bags, whatever it is that person may need to at least manage their situation where they are. And if they're willing to come back to PADS and get services with us. What anyone's going to tell you is that the solution to homelessness really isn't PADS. We're here to help people, but the solution to homelessness really is housing, permanent housing. That's what people need. And that's what we provide. We have up to 25 units currently, and some of your dollars are critical to keeping that housing program going. And supportive housing means that it's not just a roof, but it's somebody coming to knock on the door to make sure you've got food in the cupboard, to make sure your bills are getting paid, to make sure that you're doing what you need to keep that housing so that you don't have to fall back into the shelter system. And last but not least, certainly, is what we do mostly with our resources and time, which is emergency shelter. Currently, we're doing that during the winter months with our church partners, and then year-round, we've been able to do that with our hotel program to greater and lesser degrees depending on the time of year. That's what PADS is mostly known for. We provide the bulk of emergency shelter in the community, especially during the winter months when somebody has nowhere to go. We're really the only immediate option for somebody, and that's because of our church partners. So if you're part of that group of volunteers, thank you very much for the contributions you've made to help the people we serve. Some numbers to give you a sense of what we're dealing with. Lake County has about 700,000 people. In any given year, about 1,410 of them, this is not even from the year actually, this is July to May, so it's not even a full year, but pretty close. We've served 1,410 people. We have a central database where we keep track of all this. Those are people served not just in shelter, but in housing, outreach, prevention and diversion, all told 1,410. 367 of those individuals participated with PAD services, and got to permanent housing, the ultimate goal. 38 of them were families with 116 children among them. Our shelter program served 688 people during that July to May period. 378 people, that's the prevention and diversion, never had to come here. That is a huge accomplishment. And 42 people were engaged in outreach, found out in the community and helped. So 700,000 people is a lot, but it's also a lot to think that 1,410 of them had to come here. Our big thing is emergency shelter. This is a little more of a deep dive into those services. Again, the coldest months of the year, October to April, that's when currently our 9 church partners contribute. Pre-COVID, it was 16 church partners. Now we're down to 9. If you're part of those churches that have helped, thank you so much for what you do. Again, hundreds of people benefit because of the work that you do. And not only is it opening your doors to provide a roof and heat to people that are out in the cold on those nights, but also meals. The churches donate a warm meal when they get there, and then in the morning when they wake up, there's a breakfast waiting for them, and then they're given a bag lunch on the way out the door to the bus to come back to our building here. So thank you all. We're going to need you again next year, and we hope to see you all and maybe some of your friends contribute to our mission. Outreach and inreach. This is the people that go out again into the community to find the people that are on the street corners, in the tents in the woods, sleeping in their cars in the parking lot of Walmart, wherever it might be. They knock, they say, how can I help you? They try to engage them into services. And then inreach, our staff will also go to the shelter sites to try to recruit people. Not everybody that goes to the shelter actually comes through our building. The police will drop them off at the shelter sites. And in the past, they've actually walked up to the sites. And although the churches aren't supposed to let them in for that, they often do because of they just can't help but be kind. And so our case managers can go out there sometimes to do that inreach. Prevention and diversion I discussed. That's one woman, Medea, and she provides that service to our clients that are coming to us and saying, I'm about to be on the street, what do I do? And she's done this long enough that she knows the things to say and the resources to provide to help keep that person from having to come to us. Homelessness, really, there's a definition of homelessness. It's literally homeless, meaning you're sleeping in a place that's not meant for human habitation. If you're couch surfing, meaning you've got friends that are letting you sleep on a couch, or some other way of keeping like a habitable roof over your head, by our standards, you're technically not homeless, and we're going to try to keep you in that situation so that you don't have to find yourself on the street. And that's what Medea does every day. It's a very difficult situation because people think, I don't want to be couch surfing, but actually for what we do, that's a win. And we try to find any way to make sure people don't have to actually fall to homelessness. But even with that, we still have hundreds and hundreds that come to us every year. This is the Day Resource Center. Where they come is this building right here. This is where most of the case management is provided. This is the room that people wait in when they need to go to shelter. This is where food is distributed out the door. We have our supplies here. I'll go into some of that in a little bit here. But generally the first step people take to like, what do I do with myself? They hear, go to PADS, go to 1800 Grand. Well, our doors are open for anybody 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. They come in and they start their journey with us. And then, the case management. So very often when those people come to our doors, they have nothing, no wallet, no, maybe they've got, enough clothes and shoes on their feet to navigate the weather outside. Sometimes they don't even have that. Sometimes maybe in a hospital gown, believe it or not. And getting from that situation to housing, actual housing, is not an easy task, especially for someone who's dealing with trauma, who has found themselves in homelessness for some reason or another. Maybe there's mental illness, maybe there's substance use issues. And now you're asking that person who doesn't even have a wallet or an ID to get an apartment and a job. That's something they just can't easily do on their own. They need a helping hand. And that's what our case managers do. They help that person get their birth certificate and their state ID and their maybe driver's license, but usually it's a state ID, social security card. You start gathering all those documents, you get them document ready, and then you can start talking about getting a a voucher from the housing authority. All of this is a complicated paperwork process. It takes navigating multiple systems, pulling in resources. These things aren't free often, so how are you going to pay for these little extras that you need to get? That's what our case managers do. They get people from walking to our doors in a hospital gown to an apartment. And they do that through case management, through knowing the systems that help support the clients that come to us. So it's critical. If it weren't for them, many people wouldn't have the houses that, or the housing that they do. Out of our facility, some things you may not think about. People use 1800 Grand as a mailing address. You need a mailing address for so many things, like a social security card, an ID, and a birth certificate. Where are they going to get mailed if you're homeless? So our address is used by hundreds of people. We have to keep all of that mail straight and distribute it accordingly. People use our phone. We distribute toiletries out of here. You know, if you're coming to us with nothing, you probably don't have your toothbrush and your toothpaste and your shaving kit and everything else that you would need to stay hygienic. We have those supplies for you. We have food. People come here, they can do their laundry with resources we have. There's a laundromat across the street. We pay for laundry over there. We have transportation services, meeting spaces. We provide groups. So if you're sitting in this building during the week, we have educational opportunities for you. We're going to educate you on where you can get your ID, what other resources are available to you, what other providers are out there. We invite those providers in to meet with clients. Healthcare, psychiatric care, counseling, all of those resources are available sometimes. Well, they are, but it takes time sometimes. And navigating and getting there is a process that requires some kinds of support. All of that is provided out of this building, oftentimes through these groups where people are taught how to go and get what they need in the community. And case management is here, and then we provide opportunities for employment out of this building by helping people get their resumes together or showing them where to go out in the community to get those things done and accomplished for themselves. And as I said earlier, we have about 25 units of supportive housing. That is our, it's a great thing to be able to offer somebody. The clients that are in our supportive housing program have been there for a long time. The units don't open up very often. So we're a small percentage of what the supportive housing stock in Lake County is, but we're really glad to be able to provide the units that we do provide. And I know the people that live there are glad to have them. That means that you've got a roof, your utilities are paid. We make sure that you've got the food you need and basically everything you need to live your life and have shelter and food managed for you. As well as, again, that person knocking the door, maybe you need healthcare, maybe you need something else that to make yourself whole. That's what our case managers do in the supportive housing program. We've done this again for hundreds of people in the last year. We've got an example here. We're going to try to show video. We had a technical problem. If we have that technical problem again, I'm going to jump in and show it myself. But this is Carrie's story. Carrie and one of our case managers, Latasha, worked together to have their story filmed for you. And this is our premiere of that story. So I hope you can hear it. And if not, I'll jump in and give you a version you can hear. Please, Carrie's story to show you what PADS can do. I'm guessing you can't hear that. Is that right, Julia? All right, extreme close-up. I'm going to take over.
Sorry, I can hear it on my end, but I don't know if anybody else can.
It's all right. Watch this.
If you don't make it back to the PADS, being homeless has been hard because I have worked. If you don't make it back to the PADS office to go to that site, you gotta find somewhere to sleep. I've slept in 24-hour laundromats, slept underneath somebody's porch. I've slept under trees just so that way I can continue to work. when I did sleep at the laundromats, I'd be asleep in a corner trying to hide out of way because I would get laundry done too. Most definitely was hard, especially in the middle of winter. I tried to find somewhere warm to stay. 24-hour gas stations, guess what? I was in their bathroom. And a lot of times they wouldn't mind, to be like, we understand. It's not something I'd wish upon anybody. Contrary, I'd be the first one to lend a hand because I know what it's like. And it is very difficult.
I am the PADS Arch case manager. So my job here is to make sure that the clients have their birth certificate, social security card, and state issued ID so that they can apply for available units in the area. I will take the clients and transport them to look at these units. If they need me to advocate for them while meeting with the landlord or doing anything with them while they're completing the application, I'm happy to do that. Carrie was scared to go to these apartment viewings by herself. So I just encouraged her, like, you can do this. You got this. She went up there in that Uber. She completed that rental application. She did everything on her own. And within 2 days, she was approved for Horizon Village Apartments in Zion.
I didn't get the support I needed until I actually had a case manager. Latasha's been great.
The joy of my job is the day the clients move in. We have a lot of household items here within PADS that's donated from volunteers. So we have wonderful housewarming baskets, and I took her a lot of stuff up there.
The blessings, you guys see me in my house now. I have my own place. I have my own kitchen. I love to cook and bake. And
she got a bed, a kitchen table, some kitchen appliances, and a puppy.
I have my puppy, and he's my support animal because it gets lonely.
Go ahead, Clarice.
Oh, okay. Kelsey's story is only one of the many compelling stories that we have that of many people that we have helped, but also have been made possible because of your support, because of your generosity, because of your believing in our mission. We are able to help so many carry story out there. So thank you so much for supporting PADS and being with us all the way. At this point, I'd like to invite our board president, Kevin Woodside, to say some inspiring words for all of us.
Thank you, Clarice. I have had the honor of serving on the PADS board for the last 4 years, and this year I stepped into the role of president of the board. And there is no way that you can spend 4 years close to this team and not be impressed with the dedication and the passion that they have for delivering the mission of PADS. And Eric did a great job of just listing comprehensively all the things that PADS does. And they are selfless and dedicated and work long hours in difficult conditions. And so I would begin my thank yous with thanking the staff for all of their hard work. Also the volunteers. If you volunteer for PADS in any way, you are the hands and feet that get this done. If you are a church volunteer or volunteering in any capacity, you're the force multiplier that makes all of this possible. And finally, on behalf of the board, I sincerely want to thank all of the financial supporters of SleepOut for Shelter 2023, the event that you're participating in tonight, and throughout the year, because it is only through your generous support that PADS is able to have the resources to be able to do all the things that we do. So personally, on behalf of the PADS Board of Directors, I just want to say thank you very much for your support tonight and throughout the year.
Thank you, Kevin. Now we come to the most exciting part of the program, the raffle of prizes. Tonight we are raffling 6 sets of wonderful, amazing prizes. And Kevin will do the honors of picking out the winners for each of those. And for our first prize, raffle prize that we'd like to pick out a winner for, it is the tumbler set of Yeti, Hydro Flask, and Stanley tumblers. And we will have a winner as soon as Kevin pick out the name for this prize.
The most important job of the night.
By the way, friends, we would like to thank you so very much because at this time, we have raised more than our goal of 15,000. We have raised close to 27,000, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much for being with us, joining us, being as fundraisers and donors, because without you, we would not have been able to do this. So we have a winner.
We have a winner for the Yeti tumblers. Congratulations, Erica Gunther.
Oh, yes, this is Erica Gunther wins. She is part of the Galloping Gunther team. And for the Yeti Tundra 35 hard cooler prize goes to,
Teresa Brigardo.
okay. Thank you. I'm writing down the name so that we don't forget. And the next prize that we are drawing for is the Solo Stove Bonfire Pit.
Kyle Filler.
Hey.
Kyle Filler, yay! And then the next prize is the Nintendo Switch.
Jennifer Quilty.
Jennifer Quilty wins the Nintendo Switch. And for the next prize, the Apple AirPods Max.
Patrick Naday.
Oh, Patrick
Yeah.
today, yay! And for the last prize of a pair of day tickets to Great America, the winner is
Todd Budish.
Todd Budish. And that goes all our winners. We will contact you for how we will get the prizes to you, but watch out for them. Congratulations to all our winners, and thank you again for supporting our fundraisers for SleepOut. And now I'd like to give Eric the floor, or the chair, to say our final thank yous for this event, our program event.
Yeah. I hope that you can appreciate the work that we do here, and that, as Kevin said, the staff that do this every day, that they interact with individuals that are, again, some of the lowest points in their lives. Most of the people that come here, I want you to know, are people that access the system once and don't return. That's a common myth. It's just so important to remember how vital what we do is. If you don't have food, if you don't have shelter, everything else is sort of secondary, right? And people that find themselves in that condition come here, and we can't do what we do without the supporters such as yourselves. So conversely to all of the difficulty that people find themselves in is the blessing of what you provide. And I want to just say thank you and hope that you can feel some of that joy and that appreciation, that comfort and warmth that comes from the services that PADS does. Thank you very much for being in solidarity with us this evening, for seeing the value in what we do, for being a contributor, for giving something of yours to other people. It's truly noble. It means the world to some people, and we can't thank you enough on behalf of PADS clients, on behalf of PADS staff, the board. Thank you, everybody, for what you do to help us help others.
And please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. We are out there and we would love to see you follow us as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.